Dr. Brandon.
Dr. Morgentaler, it's nice to see you.
What a pleasure to see you.
Yeah.
Here we are, another episode of
The Sex Doctors.
Yeah. I understand you've got an interesting article.
Well, you know what it's about? It's called Why Women Cheat.
That's a good title.
Yeah. So because it's a common kind of question, it's by Murphy et al. In one of my favorite journals, Evolution and Human Behavior.
Right, hold that up so everybody sees.
Oh, yeah.
I think there are very few people who get this journal at home. But there's no reason that they shouldn't.
There's no reason.
No, but we're here to bring you the golden nuggets from this journal and other journals, Evolution and Human Behavior.
Hey.
So this sounds like an important question. Dr. Brandon, why do women cheat?
Before we start, a small disclaimer. The Sex Doctors podcast is not a substitute for medical or psychological advice.
Well, so from an evolutionary perspective, which I find really elemental in understanding people's sexual behavior, it's very hard to understand the things that people do if you don't appreciate the fact that we're primates and we've been sort of over hundreds of thousands of years been developing these certain approaches to the world, right? So helpful. So anyway, so they were looking at why women cheat, and they were referring to the fact that women often say that they marry someone because they anticipate this guy's going to be a good dad,
right?
But then they cheat on someone, or they cheat with someone that they think is going to be a good sex partner.
Huh.
Yeah. So, and we kind of discussed this in evolutionary psychology. It's not a new idea. And probably a lot of people have heard that too.
Yeah.
That women marry good dads, but they, they have sex with other guys that they think are.
Yeah. Well, I always took pride in my capabilities as a father.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's my children are grown now, but should I have been worried?
Worried
because I was a good father, I couldn't be a good partner, good sex partner?
Well, should you be worried of
that? Those years are past now. But is that what you're saying for people who are listening in?
Well, I think that what can happen is people can sort of maybe have skills that are a little more obviously good at parenting and nurturing and sort of kindness.
Yeah.
And other people have skills that are a little more obviously like sensual, sexual, intense. And so those two tend not to be combined in the same moments, but also, many of us can kind of categorize ourselves as better at one than the other. Don't you think most people feel like they're better at one than the other?
Yeah. But what strikes me is that, and I think this is true for both sexes, but being with children is not a particularly sexy thing.
Yes, I would agree.
It's lovely, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not particularly sexy.
No. And your priorities are not sex generally. If you're parenting, your priorities are keeping your kids alive.
Yeah, and taking good care, having fun, and having good experiences and teaching and all that stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but sex is, and most children don't regard it's sort of shocking. It's shocking for children to think of their parents as sexual human beings.
That's really true.
And that's not an accident. I think it's because most of those interactions happen in a completely non-sexual environment, right? Like they're desexualized.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
Now I'm having these images. I walked into my parents once, actually. Did you know that?
Yeah. Was it traumatic for you? Who was traumatized more?
It was me.
Yeah. Right.
There's a little too much education.
Right.
At that moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to work here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the kids partly don't see their parents. Even kids who are sexual don't see their parents as sexual.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like teenagers, whatever they may have done themselves, they've certainly seen stuff on their devices or in movies or something, where there's sexualized stuff. But the idea that their parents would do that, go, ooh, gross.
Yeah, that's really true. Isn't that interesting, really?
Yeah.
I mean.
So I could see a woman, or it might go both ways probably, but I could see a woman who regards her partner, husband, let's say, as a good father, not necessarily seeing the good father guy as that being something that's particularly much of a turn on for her.
Right. I think that that's right. And also the way a relationship develops when people are parenting cannot be sexy. Like it can sort of pull away from the sexy stuff.
Yeah. So I would think that in your line of work as a sex therapist, this is a common issue.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of couples stop having sex completely or almost completely when there's kids around.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And there are just so many reasons why kids can cause challenges for people sexually.
Right.
So yes, that happens.
So how do you, so let's take that a step further. So let's say you see a couple or an individual within a couple, their sex life has all but disappeared, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kids are still around, whatever age they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you, and they want to get some sexy back. How do you get the sexy back?
So, one of the critical components, there's many ways. So I'm just going to talk to you about one important way that we tend to minimize in our culture. Okay. But we can talk about this like all week long. There's many elements here that are relevant. So I'm not giving you a comprehensive. You got time?
I've got time. It's
just going to take a while. Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, thank you, baby. I appreciate it. Okay. So one of the elements of passion, which is what people often say they want to generate with their partner. An important element is vulnerability. Okay. So if you think back to the best sex you've had in your life, and we can ask everyone that's listening to do the same, think back to some of your very favorite sexual moments. Chances are there was some element of vulnerability in that moment. So either you were with a new partner, that's inherently vulnerable, right? Because you don't know that person well and you can't predict what's going to happen. There's mystery, and that's vulnerable. So it's a new partner. You're doing something different. So you haven't done it before, and that feels vulnerable. Like this is a new behavior. Or it's really intense. Like maybe you're making love, but there's eye contact and a lot of focus on each other. And you feel very kind of exposed, like your heart's exposed. So that's a very vulnerable thing. Okay. So in general, passion requires vulnerability.
Yeah. I would just comment as a guy, I hear the words you're using. The word that doesn't exactly ring true for me as a guy is vulnerable, mainly because guys don't like being vulnerable, right? And they do everything in their power to never seem vulnerable.
Right.
But the things that you're equating it with certainly do ring true, right? Like mystery, newness, boldness, things like that. So I get it. It's just vulnerability is a funny word for a guy.
I get it. So, but you remember the moments that feel like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens is to find that vulnerability requires often people doing things differently.
Right.
But in a relationship, if you've got kids and you've been married for a while, you've done it all that you feel like doing.
Yeah.
Right. So it's often hard for. If you feel like doing it, you've done it by now.
Right.
So, that's one of the things that irritates me in like...
Or if I could just put a little tweak on it, you've done everything that you feel like you can do.
Yeah, and that your partner's willing to do.
Right.
So that's... You're done now with it. So making it more creative is really challenging because if you were willing, you would have done it already. Right. So what that means is, and there's ways around that's not set in stone, but that's generally how people feel. And so what that means is they're doing the same thing. And it's hard to feel vulnerable when you're doing the same thing over and over again. Like, why would you feel vulnerable? You know exactly how this is going to turn out. you know who you're with.
Right.
You know the deal.
Right.
So that makes
predictable.
Right. And so that predictability makes it a little less exciting, a little less anxiety provoking. It's harder for people to be focused on pleasure and be in their bodies because their minds are elsewhere. They're not attentive because, I've done this already. Like, I know how to do this. It's like, whatever. But with your new partner with an affair, it's all like they don't know the person that well. There's anxiety. What if they get caught?
Right.
Like everything's new. So that vulnerability is super intense. And so that passion is high.
Yeah.
So one of the one of the components is then if we go back to a long-term marriage, it's people finding ways to allow for enough space so that there is mystery again. There is less predictability. And that's really hard for people to deal with.
Yeah.
Because people love to be best friends with their partners. They love it. They love it. But, you predict everything your best friend feels, is going to do, is going to say. So when I'm working with couples that that are parents and they want to kind of bring this back, we've got to make space.
And so what does that mean? So
So oftentimes people they decide they don't even want to do it because they like being best friends.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot, they feel like it's a lot to lose to try to create this kind of space.
Yeah. But can you give an example of like what you might ask them to do?
Oh, separate vacations, stop telling each other how you want things done, like let them load the dishwasher the way they want to, give each other space, like stop controlling each other.
To me, this is funny, but probably not to you. But I can imagine like it'd be a sense of mystery if the person who doesn't load the dishwasher usually just does it randomly in their own way, because that'd be really exciting. And those, I don't know if that'd be so sexy.
No, but it's not that part. It's not the part that you open the dishwasher and you go, oh, wow, where are the
cutlery?
Yeah, no, it's not that. What it is
Where's my favorite bowl?
There's that. My coffee cup that I like every morning. Okay, no, it's not that. It's that you're not telling someone what to do. You're not dictating their life.
Yeah.
So that's the part where that offers space. So they do it their way. And that doesn't always feel good, but you're creating some distance.
Yeah.
That's where you can start to bring back some of that mystery, uncertainty, and of course, doing things differently. So, and that could even mean, in a different room of the house, or that's why going on vacation sex is great. You're in a different place. You're also seeing your partner in a different environment. You're seeing your partner interact with people that you haven't seen. So all of that like really, really works. But you've got to like make that a priority, like a real focus. You can't just add a little bit of that here and there and have it work. It's not like just like a little salt and it's going to change the whole recipe. You actually have to change the whole recipe, meaning you've got to create space in a pretty regular way in the relationship to allow for that feeling. I actually did write an ebook on this years ago. So if this resonates for you, it's on Amazon. It's super cheap. It's not like I'm going to make a ton of money if you go download it, but it's called Unlocking the Sexy in Surrender, Using the Neuroscience of Power to Recharge Your Sex Life. That's basically what we're talking about here.
Can you repeat that title, please?
Yeah, Unlocking the Sexy in Surrender.
Unlocking the Sexy in Surrender.
Yeah.
By Marianne Brandon, PhD.
Yeah. So it's only on ebook, but really it talks about what we're discussing. So with surrender is vulnerability, and it's really written for women, but I think it's very helpful for both partners to read it and discuss it. Because we're wanting to create in this mystery, there's an intensity of vulnerability, but most couples find that it's really critical for that woman to feel that vulnerability more so than the man, because generally when men show up in a vulnerable way sexually, that gives women like the ick factor, like they don't like it.
Yeah, and men don't like being vulnerable anyway.
Well, women don't either. But the thing is, when women are vulnerable, it amps up their passion. It amps up everybody's passion.
Yeah.
When men are vulnerable, she's feeling ick, and it's not adding up to more passion, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Poor guys.
Well, everybody's got their challenges. Poor women too. Like everybody's got their challenges. But in this case,
I'm thinking poor guys because they've been, especially the younger guys, like they've been taught to be sensitive.
Well, that's a problem.
And sensitive is it's good for a friend. I don't think it's so great for a man as a potential love interest.
Well, it's really important for men to have those skills, because they need to be able to have an emotional IQ so that they can know their emotions, read their partner's emotions. It's in fact a critical element for guys, but it's not like showing up in a sensitive way is necessarily going to turn your woman on.
No. They have to have a certain amount of strength.
They need the skills, but it's not necessarily what they, sort of come forward with.
Yeah.
So it's very tricky.
Very tricky for guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Poor guys.
So, well, yeah. I mean,
I feel for guys.
they're getting very mixed messages right now.
Mixed. Very mixed.
Like, don't be too strong. Yet, what's the favorite book of women of all time? Is the
50 Shades of Grey.
Right, which is the guy was like, BDSM, whatever, super strong. So guys get these double messages all the time. It's very hard for them.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things we sort out kind of in doing this work is where is it actually really beneficial for everybody for you to show up with that level of strength, because it creates a vulnerability in her and it amps up passion and all of that.
So let me ask you this, Dr. Brandon, before we bring this to a close. We started off with the article, Why Women Cheat.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the themes has been around men and whether they're good fathers and whether that's particularly unsexy or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if there's men who are watching this now,
Mm-hmm.
thinking, well, my wife's always complimenting me on what a good father I am, or I take pride in myself as a good father. Does this mean I'm at risk now for my wife stepping out on me?
Oh.
What do you have to say?
So let me first say, before I forget, that in this study, the women still preferred their primary partner.
Yeah.
Which I think is important.
Right. And this was a group of women who had gone outside the marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
They still preferred their primary partner.
Yeah.
So that's important. But I think talk to your partner about this. What I would say is watch this podcast with your partner and see what your partner says.
Oh,
and then
that's an excellent recommendation. Watch this podcast again with your partner.
Right. And if there is any element here that resonates, get the ebook and read the ebook. I've laid it out pretty well in that ebook.
Yeah. And you write beautifully.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So that's where I would start. It's a complicated thing.
Yeah. Great. Love it. Well, Dr. Brandon.
Thus ends another episode of The Sex Doctors.
Right. You can find us at thesexdoctorspodcast.com. We're on Spotify, Apple, anywhere else that you want to look. And
give us a thumbs up and please subscribe, because the algorithms are such that the more you subscribe, the more other people will be viewing this as an option for them.
Right.
So they'll have the opportunity to learn this stuff too. So
right. Or to paraphrase, like begets like.
Yeah.
Likes beget likes. All right. See you for the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.